welcome back to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and I'm a New Year boy. It's 2025, and I'm ready for who knows what. Snakes, maybe gas that makes your skin fall off.
Oh God,
we're ready for everything in podcast land.
Hello, my name is Michael Willer. I am a chubby chaser, and I'm ready for some stuff in the new year. I don't know about snakes, but we living in the desert, we get scorpions, but we can't call them that because somebody around here is afraid of scorpions, so we call them floofer pokers. I don't know where that came from. It's just what they are now. So I'll be handling those this year.
Floofer pokers?
Floofer pokers.
Do you have to check your shoes?
If you leave them on the floor, you should.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Now,
okay.
I will say we've gotten exactly 2 scorpions in here in 2 years. So
That's still 2 scorpions too many. That's all I'm saying.
Spiders are all over the place. Spiders, all right.
Scorpions are spiders.
Don't make me go on a rant here.
I wasn't going to say it, but all right.
Hey, my name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living in sunny Hollywood. And today I have a wonderful absence of scorpions in my immediate vicinity. And I am grateful for that.
Oh my God, a chronic dearth. Hi, that's me. I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. I was just like, this is lovely. Now what happens?
Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is our first episode of 2025. We'll know more about what that means either later in this episode or in 1 year. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Hello to everybody returning in 2026 to spot check us and to see what we were right on.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. It's nice to see you again.
We want to say thanks to our patrons, people on Patreon supporting the show, keeping us going, giving us the chance to hire an editor who's been doing a fantastic job. So thank you there. If you want to catch behind the scenes videos, stuff that gets cut from the episodes, but it's still fun to listen to, or minisodes, which we haven't done a minisode in a while, but we'll be doing one soon. You can check all of that stuff on Patreon and more. You get all of the backlog of everything we've already posted and anything new that comes up. And we also want to thank Big Fig and Bearskin for being long-term affiliates of the show. On Bearskin, you can get some sexy underwear for 15% off if you use Big Fat Gay Pod as the code when you check out. Trevor has a note here. They have a new BlackBerry collection. I'm not sure what that means.
Yes, it's just solid black underwear, but they're nice.
I was thinking it was digital and it had a Palm Pilot attached in very strategic places.
I was thinking that, but also I was thinking that reference is so dated by now that nobody's going to get it.
I'm old. I'm allowed.
Remember when Barack Obama back in the 19th century had to give up his stone BlackBerry? Yeah.
Whatever you want to put in your underwear is between you and your bearskin. So,
and your internet service provider.
Yes.
And if you were looking for a new mattress, use Big Fig. You can click through the affiliate link on our website to get yourself a mattress with a hefty discount for hefty boys and girls and people of all types and sizes. And with that said, let's get into the show.
A show!
Got to blow off the dust on the music.
Wow. It's been like a whole year since we've used this music. It's crazy.
So here we are.
It's a new year, and there's new, controversy, just wackiness out of the UK.
Of course, it's out of the UK, capital of anti-fat bias.
This is from Women's Health UK, and they are rounding up foods that are banned under new junk food advertising rules that take effect in the UK. It's October 1st, 2025. There is a new 2-stage process for assessing what foods can be advertised before. What time is it? It's like 9 p.m. or something?
I think it's 9 p.m.
Yeah, 9 p.m.
Yeah, it's like you can't advertise junk food during prime time because it's, because children might be watching. Can I just say, what is this going to do to the Saturday morning cereal cartoons?
Oh, I think that's specifically what they're trying to cancel. Though I don't know if those are a thing anymore.
I mean, I got to say, I don't have an issue with an advertising ban. I just don't see a problem with it.
Some of the stuff they've chosen to target as quote unquote unhealthy food is a little ridiculous. I mean, they have the whole list but kind of aggregated.
It's splash effect, right? They're trying to apply broad things so that it's like if you ban all cereals, you ban porridge by accident. It's what happens.
Well, okay, but to be fair, the article, it is out of the UK, so the story is more important than the truth. And the government hasn't actually said they're going to put all porridge, as they say, which is American oatmeal, on the list. It's just that they said porridge, and what they probably mean is all the ones that have the heavy sugars, like
sugar fortified,
the instant oatmeal that tastes like chocolate bars.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely going to get on the list. You just oats. No, I don't think that's going to be on the list. But the article's like, what if they did?
Any of these foods on this list, and then they take the food and do this scoring process that's kind of, I'm probably looking at sugars, fats, whatever. But Dan and Don, I feel like, will probably be able to speak to this better. I feel like in the 80s and early 90s, there was a whole kind of weird advertising thing where food, it's sexy because it's bad. And I'm curious if we're going to see a resurgence in this for basically all these food companies that are only going to be able to advertise after 9 p.m.
Uh-huh.
And if it's going to play.
It'll be like old Vegas coming back. Of course it's sinful.
My prediction is you're going to see a massive push into digital marketing markets where time isn't measured, right? So if you slap all those ads into TikTok or embed them into TikTok creator stuff,
but don't be silly, Don. Little kids aren't on TikTok. They watch television from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock right before their bedtime.
We're legislating laws to try and protect people from 40 or 50 years ago.
It's the idea that you're going to have a TV ban for kids is absurd. Kids don't watch TV.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Dan there. I mean, I don't know for certain, but that really does feel like, okay, good luck. Kids are.
Yeah. It's like banning dinosaurs.
Yeah. The problem is if you actually wanted to do anything that would impact the target people writing the legislation would have to be about 30 years younger than the people doing it. And the people doing it now have no idea how young people watch.
Well, you see, those youngsters don't have the experience in writing legislation, Don.
My favorite part of this is, so the list, it's all, there's a lot of very British things like crumpets.
Yes, crumpets are on the list.
Tea cakes, tray bakes. And I want to see advertisements for crumpets because I've seen a lot of.
I saw that too. Scones and crumpets. I was like, who's advertising scones and crumpets?
Well, I want to see the advertisement for crumpets targeting 7-year-olds.
Yeah, that fits in the list. Also, kombucha is on the list. Are kids drinking kombucha?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't say kids don't drink coffee generally because it's too bitter. I can't imagine kombucha being a big hit.
I want to see how many school lunch programs have a kombucha spigot in their soda fountain.
I just love that there's a spigot in the wall. You turn it, kombucha comes out.
I love the idea that kids aren't drinking it and kombucha ferments, so it's just the pressure is building in the school kombucha wall, and then some kid goes up and just pours it, and the school explodes because there's just so much. The mother in the kombucha has grown so large.
But fundamentally, what I come back to with this article is they are talking about advertising to children, right? I don't care if you're advertising food. I don't care if you're advertising toys. Whatever you're marketing to an unformed brain that doesn't have the defenses to conceive of what advertising is a bad thing. So I'm totally on board with trying to block advertising targeting under a certain age.
I feel like the advertising aspect is different than the kind of misguided attempt at blaming fat people for being fat. It's Wes Streeting who also was the one saying, fat people don't have jobs because they're fat, so we need to get them on weight loss medications.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It is just a ham-fisted attempt at saying society isn't the problem, fat people are the problem. I do not think this will have the effect they think it does, and I think it will only give people more food issues in the long run.
Oh, of course.
Because it is just further stigmatizing foods and creating more complicated relationships than people already have.
But the thing is, I think society would rather see eating disorders than obesity. They see eating disorders because eating disorders look better, quite frankly, too. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Anyway, we have in, the San Francisco Chronicle, an article that's headlined SF for San Francisco, taps body positivity expert to work with public health department on reducing weight stigma. by Catherine Ho. So we've talked about Virgie Tovar before because this article centers around her. She's working with a team at the San Francisco Department of Public Health as consultant on weight stigma and weight neutrality, basically trying to help create legislation or adjust legislation and procedures so that you're not perpetuating weight stigma, which is pretty freaking cool. The article itself is a little like stuff that steps outside of that is a little icky.
Yeah.
Like they briefly address how the American Medical Association, which we talked about in 2023, is now recommending that doctors look beyond just BMI and then consider alternative metrics for diagnosing obesity, including genetics, visceral fat, and waist circumference. So like there's other stuff in there that's a little, hard to pull apart. And they, of course, they have to, at the bottom, they have to say, and by the way, San Francisco has one of the lowest rates of adult obesity in the US. So I think, it's kind of half good, half bad in terms of the article itself.
Well, what's interesting to me, there's two things there. The one that you point out, Michael, which is that San Francisco is doing the most to address body positivity and anti-fat stigma, even though because they're San Francisco and they have actually the lowest rates of obesity. They have half the rate of the national average. And the other thing too, though, is that the other thing you mentioned, which is they keep looking at the wrong end of the horse. This is going to fail as long as you make obesity the disease. It would be like having all these, you're trying to cure emphysema by measuring coughing. And we have to have anti-cough measures. Like that doesn't fix the problem.
So this is kind of what I'm interested in. And I'm curious to see how this develops because this goes again back to our kind of it's something, our original it's something of like, okay, in Washington state, obesity is classified as a disability and therefore it's a protected class, but you're still stigmatizing obesity that way or being fat as obesity. And it doesn't, in this particular case, as Dan's pointing out, like it doesn't really solve the problem
because of and the reason it doesn't solve the problem is because of the basic underlying fallacy that obesity causes disease rather than the correlation that it is concurrent with many diseases.
San Francisco is one of the cities that has protections for weight-based discrimination.
Yeah.
I think it's good, but I also feel like San Francisco, they point out that San Francisco is one of the lowest obesity rates. And also they already have protections for size-based or weight-based discrimination. So I'm curious what kind of programs they're trying to develop.
Yeah, like how much
they seem to fix the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's probably more to set in stone. But I'm just curious, what are those things? Like, how do you do better than a city that's already doing better than most?
Yeah,
every program I read about dealing with this or article even gets really hand wavy about the whole correlation versus causation thing. It's like they're just so eager to do something to fight fatness. They don't really care if it'll work or not, just to be seen publicly doing something about me.
Well, and nobody
not
calls
to take it personally or anything.
Yeah. And there's also another thing that calls back here, and this sort of references the previous thing we were talking about, because a lot of people say, well, we didn't see this sort of upset when people went after smokers. Right. Like we kind of stamped out smoking rates in this country have precipitously fallen because it became unfashionable because they were set outside. And so a lot of people are saying like, well, yeah, that's why we need fat shaming to curb this thing. Like if you make it unacceptable, people will stop doing it. And the fallacy in that is that smoking is a behavior, right? You can stop doing a behavior. Whereas being fat is just how you exist in the world. You can't, it's not a behavior you can curb. It is. And they try to make it a behavior by saying that, oh, well, fat people do all these terrible things by their eating. That actually isn't always true.
Right.
Trying to address a body type as a behavior is where this all breaks down. It's why the letters home don't work. It's why the advertising ban isn't going to work because it's not a behavior.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder how much of it, I can't remember if we've talked about it in this context before, but you have a group of fat people and maybe some of them are just fat and that's just how they are regardless of what they do. And then maybe some of them have eating disorders and are basically you see the disorder in how they look. It's a direct result versus thinner people who have the exact same eating disorders, but their body doesn't show it. And so they get to basically pass.
or are applauded for it. Like, oh, wow, you look so skinny. I love that.
Right.
How do I get like that? Oh, we have an eating disorder.
And so there's kind of this like, you know, you and I have the same issue. We have the same eating disorder, but I'm thin and you're fat. And therefore I get to kind of like hide it and call you out for looking the way you look and being the way you are. And it feels like there's a lot of just intense hypocrisy in that kind of, you know, ability to pass, basically.
Well, I would take it a step further, Michael, in that if you look at most fitness influencers, when they talk about diet, what they're promoting is disordered eating, so you can look like that.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I think that's part of the reason it's good that they're bringing in a fat person to kind of lead these conversations in these like whatever programs they're developing, because I think there are a lot of thin people that would not make that point, Michael. And they, you know, having a fat person be like, well, actually fat people can be anorexic and just not necessarily show the same outward results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't just look at somebody and assess. Like you don't know what their life is just based on how they look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of these legislatures sure seem to think they can.
Oh yeah, because that's the easy. Nobody's standing up to defend fat people. Not nobody, but like not enough people. So it's an easy win for them to go like, oh yeah, let's come up with this new thing to shame and eradicate fat people. All right, I think we need a nice balm for all of this.
Fat Watch 2025.
Oh my God, 5?
Yeah.
And it's a good one. It's a fun one.
Yeah.
We get to play a little clip for you.
Yes.
I love this guy.
It's fun. It's easy. It's fresh and free.
I don't know why I suddenly have this image of Lizzo Watch 2022 just coming out of the blue and tackling Fat Watch 2025.
All right. We have a clip from RVX Mendoza on Instagram.
Girl, just do it, fat. Don't wait till you've lost enough weight. You're worthy of taking up the space that you fill. Live your life now. Don't wait for some future version of yourself that you think will be more deserving. You have every right to pursue your passions and dreams just as you are today. Your worth isn't tied to a number on a scale or the size of your clothes. It is inherent in who you are. You're allowed to be seen, heard, and celebrated in whatever body you inhabit right now. Don't let anyone or anything convince you for too long. So go out, do it fat. Wear the clothes you love. Pursue the opportunities that excite you and live unapologetically. There's no reason to put off living the life that you want, waiting for a moment that you're not even sure will come. You deserve to be happy and fulfilled just as you are, and the world needs you exactly as you are today. Everything good that ever happened to you happened in this body. Girl, just do it, fat.
You go. The thing that I love about this, I mean, of course, the message that like, don't put your life on hold till you're a more acceptable size to have a life. But the other thing is, you know, the video component of this that, you know, our listeners can't see is, you know, he's doing all this physically active stuff. He is surfing. He is weightlifting. He is dancing.
Riding mechanical bulls.
Riding mechanical bulls. He is out there living just the most physical fitness life you can imagine.
Can I just say there's a lot of different, you should watch the video of
It's
it because
incredible.
there's a lot of different clips in there. My favorite part is his anxiety dance, how he handles anxiety, but also there's like a sequence of him, you know, he does all kinds of different stuff and some of it is exercise and he's doing these deadlifts. Holy shit. How much is he lifting?
No, that is a snatch. Michael, that is a snatch and jerk. It's even more impressive than a friggin' deadlift.
Oh my God.
Because that doesn't look like an amateur thing. That looks like a professional athlete thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So this was one of the first things I saw, like when I woke up on New Year's Day, and it was wonderful. And I was so glad I saw it because there is someone who we've highlighted on the podcast before who posted basically the opposite of this video.
Oh boy.
And it was, I don't know, such a like car crash jump scare, like in a movie when like the car
just comes
like
out of nowhere.
Yeah. And it was so upsetting, and I was so glad.
What do you mean by the opposite of this video?
Because it was this like long diatribe of like, I need to lose weight. Like it's got like, and you know, like I'm going on this journey, and there was like hashtag day 2 of 365, you know, whatever.
Oh boy.
And it's like, I wanted to be like, no, just do it fat. Like you
do it fat.
Like you do everything. Like they're like, there's, and they go into why, and like you can lose weight, like whatever, it's your own thing. But it was just like such the opposite vibe.
Yeah.
Well, and I love how he's co-opted the Nike slogan of "Just do it," and it's just do it.
Just do it fat. Yeah.
Yeah. Just speaking as an older fat man, like that's a message I never received when I was younger. Right there, I can't even begin to express how many things that I passed up opportunities for when I was younger because I'll just have to wait until I'm thinner. Right. I missed opportunities because of that mentality that this ad is fighting against. And I love that message is going out there now to younger versions of me, so they don't miss those opportunities that I did.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so like, now I'm so geared towards like doing stuff like I want to freaking go kayaking down the Mississippi because I missed out on that when I was younger. Yeah. These messages are going to let people live life.
And it's insidious because the message to not do it as a fat person is both external, like there's no clothing for you, there's no equipment for you, or I'll be made fun of if I do it. And it's also internal, like, well, I'm not going to buy new clothes. I'm wait till I'm thinner. I mean, let's put it this way. No one ever in my lifetime told me explicitly, you are too fat to go kayaking down the Mississippi River. Right. You just
that message, those words were never explicitly said to me, but it's a message I heard every single day of my life.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Every single day. You know, that's a beautiful message you just shared, Trevor.
I love it.
I'm glad that was your inaugural message for 2025.
Yes.
A side note, RV Mendoza goes by they, them pronouns. So apologies if we got that wrong. But yeah, this is such a positive, fun, great way to start the year, which I think kind of dovetails into our main subject a little bit.
Yes.
So in the past, we have done a kind of our own softer take on resolutions called aspirations, but we're going to do a little different, something that's a little bit different this year, which I think Trevor should set up because this is maybe clearest in his head.
So in the tradition of, there's a thing in fashion magazines and now a lot in like cooking, food magazines, just really in culture publications at the end of the year, start of the year, they do what's out and what's in. Leather is out, fur is in. Walking is out, running for your life is in. So I thought it would be fun for us to kind of like do that for like Fat World, Personal Life, Big Fat Gay Edition. And I guess I will start off. GLP-1 discourse is out. Hostile architecture discourse is in.
Ooh, I like this. I like this.
So elaborate. What
you should expand that. That's a really, really good take.
So like we have covered a lot of stuff about everything going on with GLP-1 drugs becoming kind of like, pushing them for weight loss. And like, when, like you do you, whatever, like, I'm done. We've done this for 5 years because one of the first things we covered.
Just for his explainer, he's talking about drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic and things like that. Those are the GLP-1 drugs.
Trulicity, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
All these drugs, all the variations of the drugs. We started talking about this in like one of the first episodes we did back in 2020 because there was like this first kind of studies coming out that they were starting to do these trials. I'm tired of it. People who are taking these drugs for whatever reason are tired of talking about it, defending it, whatever. Like, and there's other stuff that kind of like came out that I would be like mildly interesting to talk about. But I'm just like, I'm so over it. And there were so many points in December where I was just like running errands and stuff. And I noticed that like, there's no benches or ledges or anything anywhere.
Yep.
I noticed that we did a Christmas lights kind of installation walkthrough that was in the like baseball park, and it was huge, but there were no benches. It was there was like nowhere. So it was like, okay, well, we got to kind of go through this at our own pace and leave when we're ready because there's nowhere to sit and relax.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of the anti-homeless push. Like, if, it's an anti-human push and, so anti-homeless, anti-obesity.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can find a bench, I literally sent a picture to the three of you of a bench I saw in the subway station near me.
Yes.
Where they had created, it was a standard size city bench and they had laid a cement zigzag down the middle of it that made the seating portions too narrow and pointy for any human butt to fit in, much less my own.
Yeah.
Like,
is that so trying to prevent people from sleeping on it? Is that the point?
But it accidentally preventing people from sitting on it.
Yeah.
As we know, the cure for homelessness is fewer benches.
Right.
And it's not even just like targeting people trying to sleep and be safe somewhere. It is also like anti-skater stuff where
Yes,
it started with putting, bumps and ridges and spikes and like things so people couldn't grind on stuff. And then that didn't work. So they just get rid of all of these structures.
And hostile music in a lot of open spaces to try and drive teenagers away.
And this is even like, I feel like beyond public stuff, I think it's also in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
There is, it's like, it's really loud. It's not necessarily comfortable because they want to do a lot of turnover.
Yep.
And there is starting to be more public spotlight discussion on the loneliness epidemic. And what do you expect when people can't go anywhere? There's nowhere for people, like people can't congregate places and talk because these places are disappearing.
Yeah, when public space is stuff you drive by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For this, I did actually do some research on trends lists that people were putting out into the world for 2025.
Yeah.
One of the more popular ones, it wasn't on every list, but I was seeing was basically a younger person bar replacement spaces, basically congregation spaces for people to hang out. Exactly what Trevor's saying. That just doesn't exist now.
The third space.
Yeah, third space. That's what they were calling it.
Well, that's what it was called. That Starbucks pioneered that when they first came out, and then they discovered, there was a lot of things that happened in the universe. But they're trying to go back to that because whether or not it's Starbucks or not, we need public spaces. We need congregation spaces. And places that refuse to acknowledge that are going to be left behind in the dust.
Yeah. And the only civic ones provided are parks, which are outdoors generally, or civic meeting halls, which I don't know if you guys have ever tried to reserve a meeting space. You have to reserve like 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Don. There is no park that's more profitable than a parking lot. Yeah. There's this also this sort of capitalist idea that like things need to make money. Like a library, but the library doesn't make any money. But when you remind them that the fire department doesn't make any money either.
Doesn't quite hold water.
I have an in and out that's a little tangentially connected to what Trevor's talking about. So Wegovy and Ozempic and all this stuff, it's on our brains. It's everywhere. It's hard to avoid. But I had conversations with some folks that have been using those drugs over the past couple months. And what I'm consistently finding is kind of anger at the way the world told them they were supposed to be relating to food. And then when they take the Wegovy stuff, like their brain reacts differently, right? So all of this, I think what I'm seeing is dieters' shame is quickly going out, right? As people realize that like all the ways that we've been told we're supposed to feel about food is not actually organically real.
Yeah.
And I think what we're starting to get is Ozempic rage, where all these people, like, we're all of a sudden they're discovering willpower was not the key, right?
Yeah.
There was something else. And I'm seeing a lot of people having reactions of fuck you to the food industry and the diet industry. A rage and an anger that I haven't seen focused this way before.
I completely agree with you, Don.
And I think in 2025, we start seeing that start taking a cohesive form of some sort. I don't know what.
And you can tell how right you are by how all the diet places have shifted so quickly away from, it's a psychological problem. We'll give you moral support. We'll give you character support. It's like, no, it ain't any of that. It ain't any of that.
But I think a lot of those institutions are going to be facing a real comeuppance starting this coming year of people just raging at them. So
food shame is out, diet rage is in.
Diet rage is in.
That sort of brings me to one of mine, which is commenting on people's bodies is out. And, commenting on like what people are doing and the energy they're putting out is in. So it's, I remember a while ago I was teaching, and one of my students said to another student, like, "Oh, wow, you look so great. You lost weight." And I said, and I kind of jumped in and said, well, I don't know about that, but she looks great. And the woman came up to me afterwards, the one who had said it. And she's like, "Oh, I know I botched that. How do you say it?" Because she also knows what I do. And I said, you don't have to comment on why they look great. You can just say, "You look great." Or I love that new kindergartner. There's a kindergarten teacher who teaches her class this. If you can't change, if it's not something that someone can change in 30 seconds, don't mention it.
Oh,
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Like you can change how you comb your hair in 30 seconds. You can change a blouse in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
You can change your pair of pants. If it's not that, it's kind of none of your business.
Yeah. That's a really easy way to think about it.
I love that 30. Well, because how do you explain it to 5-year-olds, right?
Right. Yeah. For me, I started working with an athletic trainer last year to try and rehab my ankle, which I was getting a lot of injuries playing soccer. So I had to stop playing soccer. And I went into it with a lot of apprehension. Like I've never really spent much time in gyms. I don't have a positive relationship to gym culture. And I've been very tentative about ever doing that. And I finally just, it's like, screw it. If there's a way for me to start playing soccer again, then I want to do it. And so out from last year is apprehension and workout fears. And in for me this year is workout confidence / soccer ?
Yeah.
Like maybe. And then the thing that's really nice about it is that when I first started, the end goal was like, I want to be able to play soccer again. And that's probably going to be a longer journey due to other issues and whatever. But in the meantime, I'm just doing workouts and I'm learning all of the different techniques and things that you're supposed to know how to do if you do like traditional workouts in gyms. And I'm learning to kind of just enjoy that for what it is and not purely because I have an end goal in mind, which is a big mental shift for me. And it's also been very educational because I'm not really seeing the kinds of results that all of the fitness influencers would tell you that you should expect to see if you do everything right. And so it really is just sort of about like, okay, this is just something I do for myself. I don't need to see. I mean, I'm seeing like some differences, but really, I don't think I look drastically different than I did 6 months ago.
But how are you feeling?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I think there are future goals that I still have that I want to test, but I don't feel this kind of like crushing pressure to rush into it that was getting me injured trying to do soccer before I was ready. So I've kind of learned patience, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
So patience is in.
The other side of that for me is like, because I've gone to the gym since forever. And I know that when you get hurt, you have two choices. You can take a couple of weeks off now, or you can take several months off later.
Yeah.
Pick it, choose your medicine.
Yeah.
But I get that, like, be kind to yourself,
Yeah.
And I think that may be what's new, like what's in, what's out. What's out is grind culture, pedal to the metal, push yourself. If it's not uncomfortable, you're not making gains.
Yeah.
And kindness, we really listen to your body.
Do we have any more ins and outs for 2025 that we expect?
I have one that I think is pretty concise, and I feel like we've discussed, but I'm putting a hard line on it for 2025. Dick pics are out, face pics are in.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
Michael, was that an ooh or a boo?
No, that was an ooh. That was an ooh of excitement.
I heard
Fuck
Michael
yes.
booing it, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
It was an ooh of like, oh, that's a good idea. Like I hadn't thought of that.
I mean, long for now in my bigger city profile, I have said, if you want to send me a picture of a body part, make it your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say, I took Trevor's advice from a couple years back and experimented with Grindr over Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Turned it on, and I will say, I got a lot more hits on Grindr than I was expecting, but I think that might be because I was one of 12 people with a face in a 100-mile radius, so.
Well, and it's what I always say, fat people in certain environments are a boutique item, and you are desired.
Dan, did you want to do yours?
Yeah. So, what's out, what I'm going to call COVID fashion. This actually agrees with the magazine, so I'm embarrassed to say that. Unfortunately, I have popular support for this. But COVID fashion is out, which I am definitely a promulgator of. Like, I'm sitting in a t-shirt and sweats.
Me too.
I think that's all four of us.
When I would never teach, like I teach classes, and I would never ever teach in this, but I would totally go to a class like this.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is because I teach older students, and again, they come from a time where commenting on people's appearance and their bodies is not only optional, but mandatory.
Right.
Like, how else would you know how you're doing is if I didn't tell you? So what's funny is they are riveted. I am always noticed by what I wear in that environment. These, again, you can't even get into my class if you're not at least 55 years old. And most of my students are probably 65 to 85. They come from an era where if a shirt doesn't button, it's underwear. Remember that in the 1940s and 50s, you were half naked if you didn't have a hat. Right. Now they don't wear hats, but they come from that era where clothing and dress codes were far more formal. So when I roll up going to class, I would never teach this way, but if I roll up going to class in sweatpants and a t-shirt, to them, I'm coming to class in underwear. And this isn't a right or wrong thing, but it's the thing is like, well, how do I want to show up?
Yeah.
And because I'm a great advocate of comfort, as anyone who knows me knows. I'm really into comfort and not really into what other people think of me. But it's not about like their reaction, because I can handle that. That's fine. But it's more like, how do I want to show up? And making that a choice rather than, well, I'm comfortable, that's good enough.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I one of my tips that I shared on the show when quarantine was in full swing, but also my older sister asked me about it because I worked from home as a freelancer, so I was kind of used to the whole stay home, work from home thing. Mm-hmm. And one of my tips was, regardless of what you have going on in your day, if you're stuck at home and you have stuff you want to do, if you have work, if you have chores, whatever, dress like you're going out anyway. Mm-hmm. Like put on a full outfit, shower, put shoes on, and it mentally for me, and I think for a lot of people, it just feels very different and kind of sets you up to engage with stuff on a different level. It's a lot easier for me to go into a meeting with clients in Seattle, on a Zoom call if I'm wearing actual pants and not just like, my jammies with dinosaurs on them.
And a button-down shirt on the top, right?
Yeah. But like, look, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think it does, for me, it changes my mindset enough that it's like doing a workout. Like you have to change your mindset to go into a new thing. But then when you come out of it, I feel like I have done and accomplished something in the fullest way possible.
Yeah.
And the payoff is different. Like the end result just feels different. So I have something kind of fun to end on. So in trying to come up with some ins and outs, I was struggling a little bit. And so I asked my partner, Michael, for some help. Mm-hmm. And what he did was he went to ChatGPT.
Of course he did. I was just thinking that.
So my in and out, I'm going to preface it with this. My out for last year is fearing AI as our future overlords. And my in is AI is the fat advocate we all need.
Oh, I love that.
Here's why. The prompt was create a body positivity and fat acceptance themed trend forecast in the style of Bo and Yang and A.D. Bryant's SNL sketches, where they do exactly this. Here's what 2024 was. Ew. Here's what 2025 will be. Yay. Here's what ChatGPT came up with. 2024 was all about fitness influencers saying calories in, calories out like it's a personality trait. Brands launching one size inclusive item and calling it a revolution. Babe, it was a scarf. Mm-hmm. But 2025 is serving us doctors actually treating symptoms without prescribing a diet. Groundbreaking, revolutionary, medicinal. Wearing whatever you want because all clothes are for all bodies. Mini skirts, yes. Crop tops, hot. Chainmail armor, why not? 2024 was all about airlines making plus-size passengers buy 2 seats, but giving us 1 bag of pretzels. Where's the equity? Where's the justice? Saying fat without fear, without shame, just like you'd say tall or brunette or obsessed with gel pens. 2024 is people saying, what about health every time a fat person felt joy? 2025 is realizing someone else's health is none of your business. Mm-hmm. See you in the future, babes.
I really love that, saying, what about your health every time a fat person experiences joy?
Yeah. There's some like insightful.
Oh my God. Like, I'm sorry, Michael. Would it be okay if we had ChatGPT for our overlords? Is that okay?
I mean, if they can make that the common way of thinking, I don't know. Maybe I'm in for it.
Yeah,
maybe that's okay. Anyway, that's hopefully some nice, fun things to end on for the main subject. But even more fun, we have a bit this week.
Yay! Well, we hope it's fun. Knock on wood.
We will be the judge of that.
All right, folks. So as we've mentioned previously, a lot of people are making predictions about the future of 2025 and what we're going to see in the coming year. One of the ones that I was curious that I wanted to check in with was National Geographic. Here's a little sample of the things that National Geographic has promised us in 2025. National Geographic took a look at what bartenders and mixologists are bringing into our lives, citing trends they're seeing around the world in Singapore, Mumbai, Cairo, New York, and London. So what boozy or boozy-adjacent cocktail trend is National Geographic predicting will be on our menus in 2025?
Oh my. Is this for me, Don?
This is for you. I've actually got two on here for Dan. All right. One, mocktails. Liquor is out and the mocktail is back. 2, clarified cocktails. 3, dairy-based cocktails. Or 4, essential oil infused cocktails.
Oh, I will legislate against that.
I think all of these ideas Dan's pretty much against, although I don't know what a clarified cocktail
I actually think the correct answer is the resurgence of mocktails.
Mocktails?
Yeah.
Okay, we have the low booze equivalency here.
Lower non, yeah, that is huge right now.
I think, yeah, mocktail sounds right to me.
And Trevor, what are you feeling?
I agree with mocktails.
Okay. Although we are all unified on mocktails, and even Don likes a good mocktail, the answer given by National Geographic is clarified cocktails.
What does that mean?
Yeah, what is that?
Clarified cocktails are completely clear mixed drinks that have had their impurities and solids removed. And they're seeing them trending all over the world right now. Good examples include the Ghosted Colada, served at Ali Bar in Singapore, the Gamble, a clear cooler made with pisco, mezcal, celery leaf, guava, ginger, and sea buckthorn.
Oh, I want no part of that.
At the Living Room at the Mask in Mumbai. I've also got a list of clarified margarita, clarified cucumber cleanse, the clear pina colada, and the transparent espresso martini.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of fucking Pepsi Clear.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I don't think this will catch on.
The mocktail is big in the coming year, but that has been a trend that's been seen over the past 5 to 10 years.
Very true. Mm-hmm.
Can I just say, this feels a lot like, okay, we can do like a beautifully plated like steak frites dinner with like this green sauce on the side and like all, or we could just serve you clear food. You know, like which would you rather? Like the aesthetic of a drink is such a big part of it. And yeah, you can have a clear cocktail and that's fine, but like, really? Like,
but so is a
make
martini,
everything clear?
No, when Pepsi Clear came out, there was a Saturday Night Live sketch of a family sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner, and then I'm enjoying clear gravy.
Yeah, that's my thought.
All right. So sticking in Danland, sometimes National Geographic says the old will become new again, and thanks to a new wave of craft distillers, the world will see an old favorite liqueur return to the world stage in a big way.
He said
what
liqueur.
Classic liqueur will make its comeback in 2025? 1, Frangelico. 2, Limoncello. 3, Chartreuse. Or 4, Peach Schnapps.
Oh, God. Frangelico is more interesting, but God help us if it's peach schnapps.
I think limoncello.
We got 1 for limoncello.
What was before peach schnapps?
Chartreuse.
I think chartreuse.
Because peach schnapps is like that trashy drink from the 80s. So that
we've got 1 vote for limoncello, 1 for chartreuse. And just speaking as Don and my trashy girly drunk nature, peach schnapps sounds lovely to me.
Exactly right. There's my point.
Damn. Okay.
Wow.
Jeez.
I feel put in my place.
I'm going to go with the peach schnapps just because it's I don't know, the worst timeline.
All right. The correct answer is limoncello. Congratulations, Michael.
Nailed it.
A huge new wave of craft producers. You can expect a new wave of limoncello across the United States.
I have never been so happy to be wrong.
Yeah, limoncello is great.
Continuing our trend of what's old is new again, some basic staples may be stepping into the limelight in 2025. Mexico will be taking center stage with one of its staple food products becoming popular all around the world. Which staple are we talking about? 1, masa flour. 2, black beans. 3, relleno chilies. Or 4, cactus leaves.
I want to go with nopales just because it's so weird.
I'm thinking Apologies, just because I feel like I haven't seen a similar trend yet.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's up there. And, you know, it has some of the same qualities as okra. And I think people need a controversial food for a trend to snap onto.
Michael, what are you feeling?
The gamer in me needs to agree with everybody else so I can stay in the lead. So that's what I'll do.
All right. So the three of you are seeing a trend in cactus leaves, but in fact, National Geographic is predicting masa flower being on the rise in the coming year.
Really?
They're seeing it being used in a lot of like James Beard award winning places, and Houston to the Philippines is seeing an upsurge in masa flour use right now. All right. Our final one. Now, we cannot survive on food alone. Some trends have to be non-food based. Where will we be hanging out in 2025? National Geographic puts a new type of destination in front of us with 1. Cat gaming dens. Playing board games or games with cats free roaming around the place.
You put that in there just for me, didn't you?
2. Bookshop bars. Bars with books that often ban mobile devices during the course of the day.
And for me, it's the end times.
3. Digital gaming dens. Last one, digibars. No contact bars where all contact with staff is done through your phone.
That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.
This is where I want to go. I want to go to the alcoholic library.
The bookshop bar.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Call it that.
Okay. I think the right answer is the digital only, just because that's already kind of a thing, and that's the logical next step for it.
Got one for the digibar.
Yeah. I want to go with the high-tech gaming thing just because
Digital gaming dens.
I want to believe. And
I think you'd almost start drinking if that were there.
Okay. Well, the correct answer is, in fact, bookshop bars.
Yay me!
Yeah. So
Yay.
bars that emphasize reading have reading material. They also function as sort of mini libraries. So the book you're reading, you can take home if you sign it out and everything.
Where can I go for this?
But the real appeal for this appears to be like the banning of mobile devices and laptops and all that stuff. It's not a place to go write your screenplay.
Yeah. What? Where can I go? Where can I go?
So some of the places they are suggesting are Liz's Book Bar in Brooklyn, the Golden Sardine in San Francisco, and Gulp Fiction in Oxford are some of the ones that they've brought out.
Gulp Fiction. That's so
funny.
cute.
that's cute.
So, dear listener, do you have a place where we can cozy up with a good book and enjoy a nice boozy drink? Trevor, where can they tell us about it?
We're on Instagram and Blue Sky is Big Fat Gay Pod. I'll start posting on Blue Sky again at some point. I can't schedule stuff there. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Leave us 5 stars there. Leave us 5 stars or a review on your preferred podcast platform. Support the podcast at patreon.com/bigfatgaypod. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgay.boo, baby.
Yeah. Nailed it. Perfect.
Well, maybe you're going out, you're going to go to the book pub, got your AirPods in, and you're going to put on your shoes, but you're shaking them out because there might be a floofer pincher in them. Floofer poker.
So watch out.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.